What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, the outrage continues, I guess. A lot of people have given their thoughts about the price hikes of Xbox in particular. Not the Sony price hikes, because it's expected. That's expected behavior. So it's like, we don't like it, but and you just bend over. But I hear a lot of Xbots crying. I was listening to the Boom Show today, and I forgot who it was. I can't remember. But they were crying real hard. Oh, it's irreprehensible, ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. I mean, paraphrasing. But, this person seemed really upset. Me, I'm like, I'm not upset. I would like to not pay more money for things. And depending on what they offer, meaning products, like if Microsoft comes out with a new handheld and it's whatever price, and I look at it and say, I think it's worth that price, then they got me. Then I buy it, right? That's how products, consumers, the whole market, capitalism, that's how it works. But if they put out a product and it's overpriced, really high price, and it's not worth it in my eyes, I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to skip that, sorry. And I'm going to go take my money and buy some music equipment or something, some computer, something. I'll buy something else. Because if I don't buy it from you, I'm going to buy it somewhere else. Maybe I'll buy a PC. Maybe I'll buy a ROG Ally. Who knows? But, whatever. Those are, hypotheticals that don't really matter right now. Also, oh no, it's Alex went, he does his duck dizzle. So, I understand his explosive, dramatic tendencies. Once again, that's part of what he does, and I certainly appreciate it. But what I don't appreciate is that I don't think I'm seeing the same energy, right? I mean, yeah, we make fun of ponies and donkey unicorns and Sony, fanboys like that, but do we really go in on Sony themselves, on PlayStation themselves? I mean, I kind of do, because that's just what I do, because I see what they do, and then I'm like, blah. When Microsoft acts like Sony, which is what happened yesterday, I'm like, But then I step back and I say, okay, reality sets in and say, well, look, the only way that stuff's going to happen, the only way that any of these corporations, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, only way they're going to get the message if nobody buys it. Problem is, Sony and Nintendo have set the stage. They've set the parameters, the environment, if you will, of the future of video games with their price hikes, especially Sony. They started it off. This whole generation, increasing prices. Did they think that subtly increasing prices over 5 years constantly would be better than just doing it rip the Band-Aid off, that's it? Like Nintendo ripped the Band-Aid off, boom. Microsoft ripped the Band-Aid, boom. But Sony's been known this whole generation just nickel and diamond, ripping people off, right? Raise the price of PSN, take games away. Was there a huge outcry for that? No. Part of it is Xbox tax. Part of it is bias. Part of it is people who are fans of PlayStation who don't want to admit that they're sucking right now. Microsoft, they're on the edge of the volcano right now. Now, they're sucking in some respects, yes. They've kind of always sucked in some respects. Let's be real. Game Pass is a saving grace. See how long that lasts. But once again, with what's happening, I think it's super interesting what's happening right now. It's like kind of the exact opposite of how video games were. Like back in the day, there were bespoke boxes that these companies made that were unique to them. And that's how these programmers had to make games through these dev kits and all that stuff, right? But now they're just computers, right? So they morphed and they kind of evolved into just being PCs. And so gamers that know be like, it's just a PC. Why would I buy this super expensive console when I could just buy a PC which is better? Literally better. I mean, yes, I know some people are just, they don't want to deal with the PC, how PCs work and all that stuff. Fine. I respect that. But I think the future is, I think Microsoft is finding the future. I don't know if Sony is. I think what Sony's going to do with the PS6, if there is a PS6, but let's just imagine there is. I think they're going to iterate like the PS5 was from the PS4 Pro. Like the PS5 Pro is to the PS5. The PS6 is going to be to the PS5. The PixelTech 5 Potato is going to be the PixelTech 5 Potato. That's what the PS6 is going to be. It's going to be a little bit better. It's going to have a better CPU. But it's not going to, architecturally, it's not going to change. They probably do some liquid cooling too, because, they say, hey, it worked. We didn't have too many problems. Let's do that again. I mean, it's good to iterate. But when you see the market changing as it is right now, and the thing about the market is changing is, with all of the political stuff happening, which is affecting the economics of like most sectors. So it's affecting video games, it's affecting the prices, right? But also corporations want to make more money. So this is kind of like a perfect storm for them. And the thing that I don't think the thing that Sony and Nintendo don't realize, Nintendo I think will be a little bit safe, not so much Sony, because they're going to have to price their hardware accordingly based off of the increased tariffs and all this stuff, plus how much it costs, plus not taking the loss. So if the PixelTech 5 Potato with no disk drive and no stand is $700, this is one thing that people are forgetting. And the Xbox Series X, same specs basically, is $730, right? $729. So $30 more, but you get a disk drive and stand. It's a stand on its own. You don't need a stand. But let's include that too, because, all things being equal. The PlayStation is $100. The PlayStation 5, the PixelTech 5 Potato, loaded just like the Xbox, is $100 more. Nobody said nothing about that. Nobody. Now, if the PixelTech 5 Potato today is $830, right? With a disk drive, with a stand, plus tax, but we're not talking about tax, we're just talking about numbers. How much do you think a new console is going to cost? You think they're going to go backwards? Do you think they're going to say, "Oh yeah, $699"? No. If they put a disk drive and a stand, I'm gonna say $900. I'm gonna say $899. You think they won't do that? Shoot, you crazy. And that's like incorporating tariffs. It actually might be more. They got away with selling that 20th, the 30th anniversary version for like $1,200, something like crazy. Come on, son. Sony has no shame when it comes to that stuff. And now Microsoft, they're smart. And like Alex called them stupid idiots. You had the people on your side, and then you do this thing and you're stepping on rakes and all stuff. And I'm like, y'all don't see it. Okay, this is what's happening. Okay, Microsoft, they in the room feels like yo. People are not buying that console, son. What's going, Matthew? Why aren't they buying our console? Listen, sorry. I got the games. I know you got the games. Matthew. Sarah, you have any insight on why I'm making the next console? I don't know. I ain't got nothing to do with that. Here's why. People are not buying the console when it's cheaper. It's the cheapest console. Why aren't you buying it? Right? Because it's not popular. It's not zeitgeist. All of the narratives that have been creative and have been built and believed this whole generation by Sony, by the press, really the media, has affected console sales on Xbox's side. They have had less console sales because of that. And so it doesn't matter what they do to their consoles as far as price and stuff, they're not going to sell because nobody wants it because of the perception of what it is. So why would they sell a console to people who don't want it and then lose money at the same? It's like a lose situation when it comes to how it was priced when they were losing money on each console. Now they switched it and said, you know what? We're not going to lose money on the console anymore. If they want it, they buy it. And if they buy it, we make a little money and our business is more better. The numbers will go up, blah, blah, blah. And so now this is year 2 coming up on Call of Duty. Now, they could be like, yo, let's do some Call of Duty. See, I don't know exactly what Microsoft is doing, but I think they've always been pretty smart about the moves that they had made. I don't know if this one is a smart move or not. I mean, we don't know everything that's going on. We don't know what the price is going to be for their new console. We don't know how powerful it's going to be. We don't know any of those things. We're assuming that they're not going to lose any. They're not going to create a loss leader, you know. Take a hit on those, like subsidize the new consoles. If that's the case, then what will it be? You know, will it be comparable to like the Rogue Ally and the Steam Deck as far as price goes? Probably. You know, that's all up in the air. That's all speculation. So maybe they do know something, and these movements right now are to set in motion a greater plan moving forward. It's hard to say, but a lot of people are reacting, you know, for the price hike. And yes, it's understandable. You know, I wasn't happy about it either, but at the same time, I'm looking at Sony, I'm looking at Nintendo, and people are upset, but the way that I've seen like the pre-orders for the Nintendo Switch 2, it's sold out. People aren't like that upset because it's sold out. People are gonna buy it. So Microsoft was looking at this like, yo, what are we doing here? We're just gonna sit here and like lose money while everybody else is just making money? Business wise, it would be irresponsible for them to not raise the prices because everybody else is doing it. Look at the graphics cards, right? Nvidia is one of the reasons why this stuff is happening, plus, you know, tariffs and all that stuff. But they started this, right? And the 5000 series is ridiculously overpriced, and they're doing some shady stuff. Also, cliff note or housekeeping for the last video, I said Bose headphones, and I meant to say Beats by Dre. Anyway, so Nvidia with their freaking the pricing of the graphics card is like, oh, we got a cheap one at the 5070 or the 5060? I forgot which one. It was $299 or whatever. I'm like, that's a piece of trash. Who wants that? It's like compared to the other. I'm like, man, y'all are crazy. And when they did what is it, the 5070, same performance as the 49, I'm like, come on, son. And then the price was good. It's like, no, y'all are doing, you know, smoke and mirrors and magic tricks, man. Y'all need to stop it. You know, and that's what it's come down to. They're trying to fool everyone. And that's where I think like transparency really needs to be like set in stone. Part of the FTC needs to come out and make some laws about transparency in this hardware and all this stuff, because Nvidia is getting away with murder with the pricing, and they're advertising their cards, doing stuff that it ain't really doing. And you know, PlayStation, they've given us numbers that aren't really they're not the actual sales numbers. They're giving us production numbers. They're like, oh, it's sell to the stores. I'm like, is it? Or is it the numbers that you just produced and you're assuming that people will buy them? So they're, you know what I'm saying? It's like, eventually they'll sell to the stores. I'm like, come on, son. They do all this lawyery, shady stuff, and it's ridiculous. But that's, you know, that's what they do. That's what corporations do. You know, it's not corporate espionage, but it's you know, corporate tactics in order to seem like you're winning. And that's I mean, I think Chaos said it too. He said Sony is in the business of perception, not so much reality and truth. I say they want that perception out there that they're winning. I saw it yesterday. I think PlayStation put out a post. I forgot what was it for, one of their games or something, one of their services. Oh, check out the awesome games and value, because of the Xbox news just came out. I'm like, these mother flowers. Do you see what they do? When you do something that's like, PlayStation will jump in there and stab you right in the neck. So I'm like, look, Microsoft, I understand, Phil is like, yo, the health of the industry is more important overall, and I understand that. But y'all need to be more vicious. Y'all need to really, I mean, honestly, what they're doing by putting their games on PlayStation and destroying their marketplace, it's like an Xbox marketplace part 2, basically. They might as well just take the PS symbol off and put an Xbox symbol up there, because they got 7 out of 10 games or something like that in the top 10, and Sony has like 1 game, something like that, something ridiculous. I was like, huh? Xbox is dominating the PlayStation market. That's even more devious without even having to say anything. And the fanboys are like arguing about, oh, exclusives, y'all ain't got no exclusives. Meanwhile, y'all are funding the... But anyway, the outrage for the price hikes, once again, understandable, but we are in unique times, and we're about to hit, I mean, we're already in a recession, but the government just hasn't announced it yet. That's what I say. It takes about 7 months for the government to say, oh yeah, we're in a recession. Then you look back 7 months, that's when it started. We're in it now. And these tariffs are going to just accelerate it and make it more obvious. Everything's going to go up. Price of cars, everything. Price of phones. I should buy a phone real quick before they go up. Honestly, I think I might actually do that today. I'm thinking about getting that Samsung S25 Ultra. It's got an 8K camera. I was like, I was messing with it in the store. I was like, this is kind of nice. I was swiping, 8K swiping. And these videos would be, but no, anyway. I'm just getting my camera game up. So when I start doing videos, then they'll be high quality. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I think a lot of us need to chill, relax a little bit. I know people hate it when you tell them to relax or chill, whatever, but honestly, it's just video games. It's not a big deal. It's a hobby. It's fun. Let's not make it fun. There's ways for us as intelligent individuals to make it affordable. You know, Game Pass is a perfect example. People say, oh, you brokey, you're a brokey. Well, guess what? Everybody's going to be brokey now because everybody's prices is crazy high. You know, when the new consoles come out, I want to buy one, right? I want to. If the price is ridiculous, I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm going to chill for a couple of years. I'm gonna be one of them I'm gonna be holding the gen back because I'm gonna still be on my Series X. Thank you very much. You know, that's what's gonna happen. And so with the price hikes, it's gonna be a slowdown in console sales. I mean, Xbox is already seeing that, right? PlayStation, everybody's seen that. Switch is not selling as much, and they're definitely not selling anymore. I think Xbox actually outsold the Switch in Japan, or no, in the US last month, last quarter, whatever it was, because everybody knows Switch 2 is coming out. So they're like, yeah, we're not gonna buy a Switch. We're gonna buy a Switch 2. So that's already happening. So, and you know, with PlayStation, they got no games, so people are kind of, I mean, I've heard recent reports or people, PlayStation fans saying, how is it me, or is it like PlayStation Plus is kind of trash and Xbox Game Pass is way better, and why aren't we getting the same treatment and the games and blah blah blah? When narratives like that start to come around, and Xbox is paying attention to that stuff, and they're like, oh, people are starting to look at Game Pass, and maybe they have metrics and maybe they have the numbers saying that, oh shoot, people are getting interested, we're getting a spike in subs, blah blah blah, right? And then they say, well, we gotta make this money, you know. And once again, I hate it, but I understand why they're doing it, because the cost of making these consoles got expensive and is rising, and so they don't want to lose any more money in the consoles. And I hate to repeat it, but you know, that's the reality. That's the truth. And all y'all out there, AGN and everybody else talking about the truth. The truth is that this is the reality. Prices are going up because the cost is going up. Not the cost of production. I mean, that's going up too. Like some people, who said it? Was it, it might have been Alex. No. It was somebody on Twitter. I can't remember. But I think Alex said it too. That last time I checked, it doesn't cost anything digital downloads or something like that, right? And I kind of touched on this on the last video where the technology, like I said, the tariffs affect all electronics. So what do you think these freaking games live on? How do you think they exist? In magic clouds in the sky? No, they exist on computers. In the cloud is a bunch of computers, a bunch of servers, a bunch of blades. Each blade is a computer or 2 or 3 or 4. It depends on how it's put together. So that costs money. And that cost is going up. So the cost of having server farms is going up. Not the electricity itself, I don't think. But, I mean, if they're going to invest in a new server. But yeah, I touched on it last time. But, like a lot of people are reacting off of emotion and stuff. And yes, of course, that's understandable. Because this is a passionate hobby. You love what you love. And when somebody's messing with it, you want to defend it and smack people in the face. But step back and say, all right, what's going on? Why is it happening? What can I do? What we can do is not buy anything. Just like, I'm not going to buy a PlayStation. I'm not going to buy a Nintendo Switch. And we'll see what Xbox is saying with their price. But I don't know. It's not looking too nice right now. But by the time the next console comes out in like 2 years, all this tariff stuff might be resolved, and they could, the prices could go back down, and they could be like, you know what, we're not going to lose money on the consoles anymore, but we're not trying to, rip off our customer base. So we'll make, whatever, $10, $20, $30, $40 a console. You know what I'm saying? And so maybe it'll go back to $4.99 for like a handheld or something like that in 2 years. And so that's what we got to look at, the big picture, the long game, the timing. And, I think that this tariff stuff is definitely, it's a reason on both sides. It's a reason why it's happening. And it's also a reason why they feel that they can do it, because it's a justification for them to do it. And I hate it, but I realize that it's part of the capitalistic system that we live in. So, but once again, if it is so egregious and if the product is not compelling, it won't sell. And I have no problem not buying the next Xbox if it's hot trash garbage. If it's like, yeah, that's not, that's nope. Then yeah, I'm good. It's not that big a deal. It's not the end of the world. And who knows? I was thinking about this the other day. Like, I know Sega doesn't have the capital. I mean, they make money on Sonic, though. I don't know. Them Sonic movies are real popular. So maybe they take that Sonic movie money and be like, yo, let's get back in the console game, son. Yeah, let's do it, yo. Right? Be like, yo, who they gonna get? I was gonna say, they just Sonic Team, you're in charge. They're like, Sonic Team. I'm like, oh snap, we get to run stuff. Oh, okay. Then they go off and they make Burning Rangers 2, Super Burning Rangers. I always wanted a Burning Rangers remake. Yo, Sega, you listening? Make a Burning Rangers remake. Don't remaster it. I don't want to see it in pretty, although it would look better pretty. No, I don't want to see. I want to make a new game, Burning Rangers, but new with new mechanics and controls, because the controls were pretty bad. But it was a cool little game. The zero gravity part. That's a cool little game. Like the premise is like, okay, you go through a space station and there's fire and you put out the fire, squirt, squirt, right? And then you fight a giant plant boss. Doesn't make sense? Of course it doesn't make sense. But still, it's a game. Let's go. Sonic Team. I'm still waiting for that Yu Suzuki collection. Come on, son. There's a lot of games. look, Sega has a deep catalog that they have enough property that they could do a console. They could do a console. I think, for real, I think if Sega came out with a new console, now forget about like what I said before, teaming up with Microsoft and all that stuff. Oh, they could do that. You know what? Okay, so say if Microsoft is doing this whole, it's a hybrid console, whereas it plays the PC versions of games, but it's a console form, console UI, and all that stuff. It looks like a console, feels like a console, but it actually just plays the PC versions, right? If Sega gets a deal with, or they do a deal with Microsoft and say, okay, we want to license that technology, but we want to make our own. So Sega Dreamcast 2 or the Sega, I don't know, Sega Inception Cat, whatever they call it. It'll be Sega's, right? And they already make PC games, so they can do like, okay, well, here's our PC games are coming out. They're going to be exclusive for the Sega Dreamcast 2. Right? It looks different from the, because it's just the technology. So I mean, maybe they can use the same internals because it's basically just a bespoke PC at this point, right? And that would work. I don't know who would manufacture it, but that would be cool. I would buy that. And also, the cool thing about that is that that Sega Genesis 3, 7, whatever you want to call it, the Uranus, excuse me, the Sega Jupiter, the Sega Pluto, no, not Pluto. It could play the Xbox games too because it's basically a PC. It's the same type of thing. I don't know. Anyway, rambling. Appreciate your hands, man. Like and subscribe. Let me know what you think about the continuing cries about the price hikes. And yeah, just hit me up in the comments. And I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Till the week.